Good morning, guys. Today is January 12th. I am a day shy of being a month late for a video. December 13th, I celebrated my 14th man anniversary. And actually, I didn't celebrate it, but acknowledged it. Uh, yeah, so as far as transitions concerned, I think the only thing really transitioning now is just continuing my mental and emotional transition. Uh, I would like to talk real quick about testosterone and what I have found with my journey. So, I don't know if many of you out there have a doctor who's really into the hormones and knowing how to track and all that. I have an endocrinologist, and I've been very proactive in my testosterone. I think we all are in the beginning. But what happens with me is I find that if my T levels are high, like in the thousands, it starts converting to estradiol, and then I start fat distribution on my hips, butt, you know, so bad that I actually feel feminine in ways. I get real emotional and sensitive about nothing. Um, I could be watching something and it'd be a little emotional and I'm in tears. And that's when I know I got to get a hold of her, check my labs. Uh, and for sure, this last time when it happened, we checked labs and my estradiol was 68. Now, it's supposed to be, excuse me, it's supposed to be, I believe, for my age, below 40. I've always ran about 45, 48. And I didn't even like that. It was too much. But if I drop the T anymore, then my T drops real low. So I had to balance my emotions around a little bit more estradiol in my system than I wanted. But this time it was over 1,000, my T, and the estradiol was 68. So I was right on as far as listening to my body and paying attention to it. So she dropped me. I think I'm down to. I was at zero point 0.3 mil, and now I'm at zero point 0.2 mil. I don't know what that calculates, but I just know where the line is on the syringe. That's all I've ever, excuse me, paid attention to. But be vigilant in your emotions and how you respond or react to things, because if you're finding that you're uh, putting on some weight and they're in the hips and you start having that dysphoria, talk to your doctor that follows your testosterone and ask them to run labs and ask them to run the estradiol to see if that's too high for you. If it is, and he or she wants to cut back on the testosterone, ask him just to cut back a little at a time and recheck it in 3 months. Uh, and that way you don't freak out thinking you're going to lose all your T or get really low levels or whatever. Some guys, well, I don't know if some guys, but people I've listened to and talked to have never mentioned this about that. So I'm not sure if they even put two and two together that their emotions are tied to their hormones and what's going on between the T and the E. So anyway, that's the only thing I really in transition have to say is it's not new, but just to reiterate about being proactive in your testosterone levels. Other than that, I'm just day by day, being me. Uh, I will talk with you, those who watch me when my videos come out and have for years. I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. I know I'm not creative. I know I can be boring. I know that it's been political for a while. Basically, I just want to say this about politics. I don't care what the label of the party is. I am behind the party that stands up for the minority, period. I don't believe humans should be treated secondhand, and I don't believe there are humans better than others. And I think as long as we all have the same rights across the board, then in the social groups, if you want to hang out with a social group that thinks other people are beneath them, that's on you, or vice versa. I know for myself, and I did a video thanking the LGBTQ community. Uh, I've had some great friends, and some of them have been with me through some hard times, and we all have had hard times, especially in anybody in a minority group struggles with just the oppression in many ways. And I don't, uh, I don't, I really try not to judge or look at somebody and say, well, if you wouldn't do this, then it wouldn't be this way for you. That's not how I am, but I am human. And so I really work on myself as far as that's concerned. I will say, I heard my family before I really came out to them. My mom once made a comment, well, I think it's when I came out to her. Well, people only have an impression on those walking the streets naked in San Francisco in the parades. And I'm thinking, yeah, they used to do that a lot in the 70s and 80s. And I get that because I wouldn't want my kids to see that. But people, when they're oppressed, sometimes express themselves, exaggerate in their expressions just because they want to be heard. I feel that's why some people have to talk louder than everybody else, or when they're talking to each other, have to talk real loud so they could be heard. Uh, you know, uh, but again, it's just being human. If we can just kind of catch ourselves, if we do that, regardless of what social group you're in, and that's the same thing as someone who's uh, not on a lower social group. I wouldn't call it lower, but on the spectrum, the low end of the spectrum, money wise, monetary wise, I guess, because these are the people who think they're above everybody, who make money and make good money and da 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 da. Not everybody, but some. But the people down here, they tend to judge these people too. Yes, we can see what they're doing, and we can be frustrated. Just try not to judge them, because a lot of them are cycled, just like this end is cycled, just like the middle is cycled. A lot of people don't try anything different. They don't try to better themselves, or they just stay in that same social mentality. It's the same thing with religion. You grow up in religion, unless you're faced with something to really question things, a lot of people just cycle through. And I often wonder what my um, life was meant for, because we all have a reason for living. We all have a journey, and there's always a purpose. And the only thing that I can think back on is knowing the mentality of my family and seeing how those that are involved in some of them that are involved in religion, they still have never turned their back on me. They've always em- embraced me, tell me they love me, all this stuff. And even though they don't understand, and it's just like some of my family that vote Republican, they don't realize when they vote a certain way, they're voting against the rights of minorities like me. But I'm not mad anymore. I was mad for a long time. I was hurt, and I've had to let go of the hurt. I had to realize that they have their own journey, and if they don't get it this time, I believe they'll filter their spiritual journey will reincarnate into human form and keep doing it until they get it right. Uh, I can honestly say that I'm not perfect, but I can feel a strength in my learning. I feel that I've learned from my lessons and that I don't carry I used to carry uh not hate. I've never hated. And I've never wanted anybody to be hurt. But when I've gotten emotionally hurt by people, I've gone through a time where I had to tell myself all the time, you reap what you sow, you reap what you sow. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. That's what I used to always quote myself. And so I had to do that. And to get through it. And so that's why I'm so adamant about the politics right now, because we've really been uh, pointed at and directed at some anti stuff, threatened, taking things away. But you know what? If any of you are in the military and retired and they've done something to you because you're transgender, just know that you got to get out there and vote and get all your friends out there and vote, because we need to blue so they can come in and reverse all this stuff, and Congress needs to codify things like uh, Roe versus Wade. Um, they need to make new laws where a person cannot become president or any cabinet member if they have a crime, if they've been convicted of a crime. Even if they're going through a trial, they shouldn't be able to do it because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. Uh, so there's a lot of things, if we don't get out there and vote, that can really hinder us as a minority group, hinder us in the way we live, our quality of life. And I don't feel that the United States is going to go back to 1930s or 1900s or 1800s like they wanted to. I think that I think we needed this to show how many people in our country is really um, dissatisfied, and what extremes they will go through to hurt people. I think once the rhetoric and the law starts stepping in, they're going to go back in hiding, just like they were, or they're going to change, or this is going to open their eyes. I don't think it'll catch everybody. Again, humans, there's the the scales are always tipping, good, bad, and you can't have one without the other. So these people drive us to be better, and we, by being better, not lowering ourselves to respond in hate or react in anger and hate and all that stuff. Uh, we If we lead by example, then I think we'll touch some of those. And I think I think this really needed to happen, because the violence since 2014, when he started campaigning, is really bad. But or 2015. But anyway, that's enough. That I just wanted to say that. But another thing I've been thinking about is stopping the videos. And I think that I'll just get on here once in a while and say hi to you guys and see how you're doing. And I don't have a lot of viewers. I only have a handful. And the reason why I know is because um, I don't, I'm not creative. I don't create labels on my videos that will attract somebody. Before, YouTube used to have tags, and I haven't seen a tag when I do the videos, because you used to be put in FTM or transgender or whatever, and when people were looking those up, your video would pop up. Now I don't see that. So, and for the last whatever it's been that I've been talking politics, I'm sure people don't want to hear me ranting about politics. A lot of people are not involved in the politics. Uh, I don't really watch. I don't really watch everything going on in politics, but I do listen to a couple YouTube lawyers and firms that give the facts, and then I'll watch MS Now with Rachel Maddow, and um, I'm gonna I don't remember his name. I went blank. But anyway, I see his face. But anyway, he's on MS Now too. I uh I don't really I'm not a news person because it is depressing. My mom's always saying, "Oh, it's getting worse." Da, da, da. I said, "Mom, I said our population's growing. So it is going to seem like it's getting worse. And with all the means of news outlets and being biased and not reporting everything that's factual. You know, we get crossed communication signals. And I said, and it makes it sound like there's never any good in anything, but there is. There are people that are still good. There are people who are doing things for, just like the Good family of Nicole Good that just was assassinated by ICE. Their family has come on and they got enough money to bury her and everything, the GoFundMe, and they asked for everybody to quit donating to the GoFundMe and donate to the victims of these hate crimes. And I thought that was big of them because a lot of people just take all the money. People pour out their hearts to each other to help each other out in these GoFundMe accounts. And there's an example of good humans. We still have some good, balanced, good natured, humble, kind, peaceful people out there. And so, anyway, I thought about it. My videos are not attractive, and I understand that. I mainly did this YouTube channel to just document my transition, and if anything stuck out to somebody and they watched it that was good, uh, I don't even have any comments anymore. And I've been so busy the last 6 years, I really haven't been good at giving monthly updates with our new place and all the projects. Yeah, I'm still doing it. So I don't know how to plug in a video, but I'm going to upload a video from my phone after I upload this video. And it's the place. I'll up. I'll probably upload two more since I don't know how to do the video stuff. One will be before we did anything, the day we looked at the place, and then I did an update the other day, walking around showing you everything as I talk to you. Uh, Now I am. I know I show. If you look at me through the years, my face shows everything. So I have gained like 12 pounds. I went back swelling, the inflammation in my body. But I will say the reason why this happened is because I was a little bit loose in my personal diet. I know what I can handle and I know what I can't, and I was consuming more things than I can't. And the one thing my body really can't break down and get rid of is sugar. And it doesn't matter if it's plants. It doesn't matter if it's well, all sugars from plants. So that means vegetables. I can't handle starches. I swell up really bad. But this morning I'm swollen in here, and I did not sleep good. We had football over here because the Niners played, and one of the ladies brought sausages. One of the local meat places makes homemade sausages, and she brought a big thing of them and some sauerkraut. And then we bought pizza, so there was cakes here and dips and chips and all that stuff. I didn't have any of that, but towards the late afternoon I said I can eat a sausage. It's animal based. That's what I do, is animal based. And so I got one of each. She had a Bass and a German sausage. And I did get some sauerkraut because I love sauerkraut. And I'll tell you, I was up all night. My stomach hurt so bad. I took a Pepto Bismol tab, and I think that's when I finally was able to go to sleep. And I think it was like 2:33 before I got to sleep. Then we get up at 5. So yeah, so as far as everyday life and trying to keep myself healthy, I turned 64 December 13th, and I don't want to. I want my life to be have good quality as I age. I know I can't do the things I did as I was younger. I'm really limited in my hands right now, and they're arthritic, but they don't hurt from the arthritis. They hurt from the carpal tunnel, and it's very hard to like close my hands, and so my projects are slowing down, but that's okay because we've pretty much done everything we're going to do. I just have to clean up the projects, like put the last lace on them. It's like the dress, making the dress, and then the lace comes last. That's what I've got to do around here, and I can handle that. I did get into, since we've had a winter here in California that we haven't had in a long time, and I did buy a paint by number kit. Art Number Artists is the company, and I painted a beach setting, a chair sitting on a patio, front porch, and the beach in the background and the skies, and it turned out really nice. So I thought, okay, I can do that, instead of tripping on thinking I have to get out there and do stuff all the time. And that's kind of where I am in life. I'm every day, I got back, jumped back last, the first of the year, the third, I think it was the third actually, that I started back on my animal base. I've lost 5 pounds. I gained 12. So I'm hoping in the next couple weeks, 3 weeks, I lose the other 7, and then I continue on without cheating and lose. I want my goal is to lose. Besides the 7, I want to lose like 20, 22 pounds. I'm going back into the exercise uh, garage, the gym, and I've changed my mind setting on that. I used to go in there thinking I could bulk up like I was 30 years old, and I just can't do it because I can't hold the weights very long with my hands. And so I'm going to go in there and just do some routines, get a as heavy weight as I can, tolerate on my third set, doing 3 sets, and just let my body be maintenance. I mean, basically, what I want to do is just um, I've lost the word. That's probably part of my problem now. Is I just it's not maintenance. I want to trim. I want to trim the fat off the muscle, and I want to get the muscle to where it should be. I don't want to lift weights so heavy to where I make it much bigger, be out here, but I do want my form to show, if that makes sense to you. One of the medical issues that I have, and I don't know if I've said this in any video, but about a year ago, when we go out to feed, I would just start walking this way, and then I would start walking that way, and I'm like, I'm not even trying to do that. And so uh, May, that started about February, and then April, I went out of my bedroom to go into the kitchen, and my body took me all the way to the right, and I had to catch myself on an island, on our island. And I just stood there for a minute. No, it's not vertigo. I don't have any dizziness. I don't have any head spinning. Nothing's in my brain. I just stood there for a minute and I went, okay, I think I'm okay. I let go and it took me to my table 5 feet away. And I was like kind of worried I felt okay. Everything was good. But I thought, okay, I need to see my neurologist about this. I don't know if it's coming from the neck or, but I know it wasn't vertigo or anything. So I went into his office and was talking to him about it, and he had me stand up and walk, and then he had me stand with my feet together, and he told me to close my eyes. And Tony was in there with me, and she said the minute I didn't even have my eyes all the way closed, I went forward, and he caught me. I didn't even know I was going forward till he caught me. He says, "Open your eyes," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know that." He go So I went to physical therapy, but because of my feet injury, uh, it was very hard to do because they were having me hold my feet together, eyes open, eyes closed. And what happens is I have to balance myself with my feet like this. And this motion constantly was really causing a lot of pain. I'd come home from physical therapy, I'd take a pain pill, have to take another pain pill, and I just didn't want to live that way. So after about 3 weeks, I didn't see I was really getting better. I just talked to them about it and said, "Well, we understand. If you can't do it, you can't do it." So I know the exercises, but I'm not, it didn't do anything for 3 weeks. If it had started getting better, I would have said, "Okay, I'm going to tolerate this, be a drug addict for a while." Well, excuse me, not a drug addict, but take my pain pills and do this for a little while and see if it gets better. But it hasn't. And so they just did a myelogram because I can't do an MRI. And I talked to the doctor via video on February 4th, I think it is, the neurosurgeon. And from the report of my myelogram, it doesn't look like I have anything real serious compressing on the spinal cord. I do have a bulging disc, and I do have stuff in my neck that I'm very much aware of. But anyway, I don't know. We'll see what it is, but that's what's going on with me. I still feel healthy, and I still go around my property and do what I got to do. I am spending more time in the house, and notice that I've just kind of slowed down just a little. So, when you age and you work a lot with your hands and you do physical work, which I did mainly office work, 15 years of my life. So, but at home, I always did projects and used my hands and built, you know, awnings, a back patio cover. And in fact, Tony and I did it by ourselves. We built a 14 by 40-foot cover off our house, our other house. And I just finished, even with my balance issues, I just finished a shed for a friend, re-roofing it, and it was pretty steep, but I was real cautious of my footing and got that done for her. Did it by myself, rolled roof. I rolled it, and yeah. So I'm still active. I'm just kind of slowing down some, but I hope all of you are doing well. Take heed to what I said about the testosterone and the estradiol, and take care of yourselves. It's you only have one journey, and be slow to react. Be kind to others, even if they're not in your social circle. Just understand when you see ignorance and you see hate and you see that kind of stuff, the bullying and all that, kind of just shake your head inside your head, and I just tell yourself, I'm not even going there and lowering myself to that. Yeah, you want to respond to them if they come at you, but just walk away. I think you'd find your life a lot easier if you can just walk away. Take it one day at a time and always make your journey as simple as possible. We'll talk to you later.